Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, Jolly by Nature, and we are back bringing you our Chapter 3 Team Builder for PvP as a part of the Blastburn Radio Nuzlocke World Tour Challenge. This week we took on, Karina in the Shallower City Gym. Came out the other side of it with a team that is not largely changed overall, is what I will say. We had some decisions to make, and they weren't super easy decisions because, like, if you look at our team, we have a lot of really good options that still have a lot of room to improve. You've got things like Waffles here, who is great, and I'm so excited to use him. He doesn't evolve until level 39, which isn't until around Gym 6, and we're getting to the point in the game where, like, a couple of my opponents have fully evolved teams at this point, or close to it, and it's really difficult to continue justifying bringing unevolved Pokemon. Likewise, you've got Donut the Nidorina, who I could absolutely evolve this week, but would really benefit from some TMs that we're not going to get into later in the game, and is just, like, not an ideal solution this week, although I think there's a very real possibility that Donut is going to see real play next week, which would be exciting. We've got Saffron, who is our Floette, who is fantastic but lacks any offensive potency basically whatsoever. Which, you know, sometimes it be like that, and like Wish and Protect is still valuable, but I'm not in a position where I'm willing to have something so passive that it's basically set up fodder, like a Floette or even a Florges would be at this point without Moonblast or Dazzling Gleam to hit with Stab. So hopefully, I mean, those things are coming soon is the big thing, so we just have to be patient. I have every intention of using Saffron. I think she's a great Pokemon. Her time just hasn't quite come yet. We did pick up Turducken the Sigilif this week, and Turducken is a really cool Pokemon. I'm really excited to use it. Potentially, the problem that I'm having right now is that I have a lot of Flying and a lot of Psychic, and this is far from my best Flying or Psychic option at the moment. So it's just kind of difficult to justify shoving on the team right now, frankly. We've also got Potato. I've got mixed feelings on Potato. I don't know if Potato's going to see much use for a number of reasons. You know, Anna's leaning pretty heavily into her Hippopotas so far, and so, you know, I try not to double dip there if I can actually avoid it. And I do have a really solid ground type alternative over here in Donut. So, but it's still a really strong option off the back. But for our team this week, we're rocking basically the same team as last week. Only we have replaced Waffles with Shelby. Welcome back, Shelby. We are glad to have you. Kind of. I did a goof, guys. I screwed the pooch on Shelby. If I had really been paying attention, we probably wouldn't be bringing Shelby to PvP this week. Instead, we would have just left her unevolved, left her a Krabby to get to Crabhammer much sooner, because it's the only physical water stab that Kingler gets in Gen 6. There's no liquidation, obviously. Liquidation doesn't exist yet, and it doesn't get waterfall, so Crabhammer is it, and I'm not going to get Crabhammer until the mid-50s, which makes Shelby, much like in our Heart Gold Soul Silver run, Shelby is a difficult and frustrating Pokemon to use, although much less so than in Heart Gold Soul Silver, because what Shelby does have is knockoff. Shelby has agility, and Shelby can get Swords Dance. So we've got like the makings of a pretty solid Double Dance set there. It would just be so much better if it had Water Stab that got the stab boost and could hit Celeste's goddamn Skarmory, which continues to be the bane of my existence. Of course, we're bringing Sashimi again this week. That was a non-starter. That was never even in question. Sashimi is just too goddamn powerful not to bring. It's never gonna happen, at least not yet. We're gonna bring Yam back this week. Yam was a little bit more of a touch and go case, I think, overall, but like 94 special attack is still nothing really to sneeze at. It's the highest special attack stat on my team as of this particular moment, and Electro Ball is potentially really powerful against some of my opponent's threats. Problem being, a lot of the things that I want to hit super effectively, particularly on Anna's team, are actually probably faster than Yam. which makes it hard for Electro Ball to do a ton, or if they're not faster, they're just slower. So again, with the way Electro Ball's damage is calculated based on speed difference is not ideal. Although if we can spread some Thunder Waves around and slow some things down before hitting them with that powerful Electro Ball, could be huge. Also, and again, I cannot state this enough, Encore is potentially game-changing. If we can lock something into a move that is not ideal, it can potentially give us setup opportunities for Shelby or for Johnny. Big change for Johnny this week, obviously. Well, Johnny got X-Scissor, and that's pretty cool. But the big change is Johnny got access to using that held item Pincerite. We got our Mega Band, which is going to be so fucking clutch, because now Johnny is going to Mega Evolve into a Bug and Flying type Mega Scizor with Aerialate, giving it Flying type returns. Aerialate boosted Flying type returns. Return is going to deal stupid amounts of damage. I've talked about this before. Johnny is not the ideal Mega in this particular PvP environment, because Celeste has a Skarmory that is going to be very difficult for Johnny to break, and if Johnny starts using close combats to try to hit it neutrally, lowering its own defense, and becomes very susceptible to that Brave Bird. So not an ideal scenario on that end. Meanwhile, on Anna's end, Anna's current Mega option is a Mega Aerodactyl, who will outspeed and one-shot Johnny literally every time, barring a miss. So again, these are problems. I am not going to understate or undersell those problems. There are very legitimate problems with using Mega Pinsir. However, it's so strong, it is so powerful, and as long as we are smart and we play properly around the things that our opponents have on the table, I think we really have tools that we need to be successful here. We're bringing Optimus back this week, and that was not a sure thing by basically any stretch. Again, much like with Waffles here, Optimus is an unevolved Pokemon at a stage of the game where that is starting to be a serious hindrance. However, Optimus has a couple things going for him that Waffles does not, which ultimately led me to lean into him. First of all, we're back to singles, and I really needed to bring one of these two, despite them being unevolved, because they are my two options to set Stealth Rocks, and Stealth Rocks are good and valuable, particularly against Anna, where so many of her strong threats are flying type. Her strongest threat in that Mega Aerodactyl is flying type, that take big damage from switching in on Stealth Rocks. We really wanted a rock setter. We want to set those rocks early in that matchup. So we needed to bring one of these two Pokemon. And Optimus has two key benefits, I think. Number one being that Defiant. Anna picked up a couple of Intimidate Pokemon this week. We'll talk about her roster in a little bit. But even without that, just moves that lower stats are generally like a problem, usually. And just having that Defiant on the bench to discourage that behavior is huge. Optimus also has Sucker Punch, has priority to help mitigate some of the lower stats, because if you look at Optimus's attack stat, it's lower than our fully evolved Pokemon. It's lower than Shelby or Sashimi or Johnny. Sure, not that much, and higher than Peanut's special attack, higher than Granola's attack, higher than, Taquito's also not fully evolved, but still, it's not a terrible attack stat. Sucker Punch is gonna hit and help make up for the subpar speed here. And last but certainly not least is that Optimus has Metal Claw, which is one of our few really good options to offensively hit fairies at this point, of which both of my opponents have one. Anna with a Granbull and Celeste with a Florges. So just being able to offensively threaten them, even if not super well, is a good thing. Sorry, I'm distracted because there's a wiggly puppy on my feet. We'll say hi to Banjo in a little bit, I'm sure. He's gonna want to climb up. We got Peanut, our Meowstic, who was so incredibly clutch last week, easily the MVP of Chapter 2 PvP, which is huge because Chapter 2 PvP is kind of what put me back in the game, as it were. Peanut's moveset has much expanded this week too, offensively at least, with now Psyshock, Shadow Ball, Charge Beam, and Fake Out. I really can't overstate that Charge Beam. So important because no one knows I have it right now. Unless they're doing their research and looking up the learn sets of these Pokemon, no one's going to know that Peanut has electric coverage, and I can really use that to my benefit, because what is the best switch in that Celeste has to my Meowstic right now? It's her Skarmory. So if I can surprise it with a Charge Beam, that's huge, and it's not going to one-shot it. Like, even if I like move Shelby's Life Orb over to Peanut, like, Charge Beam is not going to one-shot Skarmory, but I can scare Skarmory out, get a boost, and just really start to tear into my opponent's teams. So that's really good. Again, it's really good exactly once. It'll be good, I think, thereafter. Puppy, don't bite my toes. But it'll be really good exactly once, and I need it to be really good this one time. But yeah, I'm really excited. Shadow Ball is obviously great neutral coverage. You love ghost coverage. In particular, the only thing on Celeste's team that can switch into a Shadow Ball is Yum Yum, her Snorlax, which is a problem. Like let's not be fake about this here. Snorlax is always a problem, but other than that, everything is taking neutral or super effective damage to Shadow Ball, and that's great. We got our Crobat, we got Granola. I think Granola's time on the team is coming to a close, just because his stats are bad. He's got the bad stats. He does not hit particularly hard, but again, really important to quad resist that Breloom, really important to threaten it with quad effective wing attack. And until we have a better option to do those things, I think that Granola is sticking around. Turducken honestly might actually be that answer, although notably Turducken does not quad resist the Bullet Seed, which could, or the Bullet Seed. It only single resists the Bullet Seed, which could be a problem. It is not the bulkiest fella around, but that might honestly be a legitimate reason to pull Turducken off the bench in favor of Granola. We'll kind of have to see how that works out as the week goes on. Last but maybe least right now, we're getting to a point where we really kind of need this boy to evolve, is Taquito Arquilidon. No, not least, because Granola's right here. Taquito has Leech Seed, Poison Jab, Needle Arm, and Protect, which I think is a moveset that is definitely going to follow him into PvP this week. Overall, I have been head and shoulders impressed with Taquito, with Chespin Quilladin so far. Way better than I ever gave this particular Pokemon line credit for being. It's extremely good. Also, again, with Poison Jab, one of the better answers I have for fairy types right now, not defensively necessarily, but offensively. And with that Eviolite that we picked up this week, super bulky, brings its special defense up to on par with where its physical defense is normally, and makes its physical defense absolutely monstrous, which is great. It's going to give us some opportunities to come in and get some Leech Seeds off, which is great against some of the more defensive options on my opponent's team. Force, Celeste to choose between keeping her Skarmory out and getting chipped by Leech Seed, or forcing a swap. It can be very, very good. And then again, obviously, Poison Jab, very good for that Florges. Very good for opposing grass, potentially. I don't think I have much opposing grass to worry about other than a Roserade, for whom it's not particularly great. But, sometimes it'd be like that. But yeah, that is the team. Let's take a look at what our opponents are bringing and kind of strategize on what we're going to bring to counter and why. So for Anna, not a ton has changed on her roster this week. She is bringing back her Aerodactyl Carmelite, her Braixen, Samsara, her Psyduck. Joy. Is Joy still a Psyduck? What level does Psyduck evolve? That is super unfortunate if that thing is still a Psyduck. It evolves at 33. Oh no, it is still a Psyduck. Oh, that sucks. Bringing her new Granbull Fame, her Driftblim higher, her Hippopotas London, again still a Hippopotas this week, which is really unfortunate, her Roserade Rose, and her Chatot J Balvin. So looking at last week's PvP, her Amora is not coming back, and neither is her Diggersby, which I think overall probably good choices. I mean, there's a real argument to be made, I think, for keeping the Diggersby over the Hippopotas this week, but then Hippopotas also has things like Yawn. Like, I can definitely see it. I can understand the logic here. So against Anna, I think we definitely bring Yam, first of all. I think that's really important. I think that looking at Anna's team, she has one immunity and one resistance for electric, and that is her immunity obviously is London the Hippopotas. Her resistance is her Roserade Rose. So those are things that she can switch into it, but then I can encore those boys, and I can really abuse that to my advantage. But I mean, her Aerodactyl, her Chatot, her Psyduck, her Drifblim, half of her team is weak to electric, does not want to switch into an Electro Ball. So I think this could really be a battle for Yam to shine this week. Probably with a Citrus Berry, if I'm being 100. If I had a choice specs, that might be, well, no, because I still want to encore stuff. So yeah, I definitely think with a Citrus Berry, I don't think there's anything that can status Yam with a status that I'm particularly concerned about to make me want to go Lum. So yeah, I think that that's got potential to be really good. Hopefully, doesn't let me down. I think that against Anna, I think we got to bring Optimus. I really think Stealth Rocks is huge in this matchup. As much as like overall on paper, I don't love his typing against Anna's team. Like I think that he's got a lot of room to be potent here. I think that we definitely bring Peanut the Meowstic, especially against that Roserade. Peanut is in a great position to do work with that physical Psychic Stab in the Psyshock is just nice. Obviously, we bring Johnny the Pincer. Johnny's not skipping either of these matches. We're definitely going to bring Sashimi, who I think has a lot of potential, and I think Shelby as well. Shelby can do some really cool stuff here. I think if I can manage particularly to get an agility up, I've got to identify a setup opportunity for Shelby is really the thing. But actually, real quick before I can possibly forget, we are also going to make some moveset changes, and particularly to Shelby. So let's just go ahead and make those. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. I think you're fine too. And yeah, okay. So just Shelby and Sashimi. Banjo, stop it. Get off my cords, bud. All right, so, well, it would be great if I remembered what buttons did. That'd be fantastic. All right, so we're gonna give return to Shelby. God, I wish you had Crab Hammer, bud. It's not your fault. You're fine. Have this return. Be my friend. I could give it Rock Tomb, but I don't want to. If we're being 100, I do not want to give it Rock Tomb. We are going to give it Sword Stance, however. The problem with Rock Tomb is it's just not going to hit as hard as Return. And it's not going to hit so much harder than Knockoff against Celeste's Skarmory Starscream to make it worthwhile. So no, we're just going to do Sword Stance, Agility, Return, and Knockoff. I think it's fine. And we're going to give Sashimi Thunderwave, which I think is potentially very good. We'll have to see how that works out, I guess. But we don't need Twister anymore. We use Twister to get some berries, and that's really cool. We've still got Air Cutter on Granola, so, which we're going to leave for that reason. We're not done getting berries. In fact, there's berries that we want that are only available on routes we haven't gotten encounters on yet, so we're just kind of holding off. But yeah, so for Anna, I think we definitely bring Sashimi with the Rocky Helmet. We definitely bring Shelby with the Life Orb. We definitely bring Johnny with the Pincerite. We definitely bring Yam, I think, with a Citrus Berry is fine. We bring Peanut. I also think a Citrus Berry there is probably fine. And we bring Optimus. Probably with his own choice band, right? Like, as much as it stinks to choice band, lock yourself into Stealth Rocks and force your own swap out, I think it is definitely the lesser of two evils there. I definitely don't want to not bring choice band this week, and I don't want it on Shelby, I don't want it on Sashimi, I don't want it on Johnny, so that kind of sets up our options there. So this is going to be, I think, our team against Anna. I think that we lead Optimus and set Rocks turn 1 100% of the time. We really, before those flying types start switching in and out, we want to have Rocks up to start punishing them for doing so. So I think that is the play. Even if literally all Optimus does is set Rocks and die, I think that's a good use of Optimus, frankly. The only real concern is going to be if Anna leads something like the Braixen, maybe even the Braixen doesn't get a ton of a ton of really good fire stab early, so it's possible that Anna could lead Braixen and we'd be fine. I don't know what else she could lead that would really threaten us immediately. Yeah, I mean, maybe the Hippopotas, maybe. Let's find out. Let's see here. So, what can Hippopotas know at level 32? I don't think... it definitely doesn't know Earthquake at level 32. That would be a lot. Knows Crunch. That's not super helpful, though. Bulldoze by TM. We have passed the Bulldoze TM. So Bulldoze is probably its best stab option. So let's see here. So Poniard at level 32 versus Hippopotas at level 32, and let's assume worst case scenario. I don't know Anna's Hippopotas is like nature, so we're just gonna assume adamant, 31 IV, max stat. So like as strong of a Hippopotas as a Hippopotas can be, what does it do with Bulldoze? First of all, it's going to be slower, so we're going to get the Stealth Rocks off regardless, and it only does about half with Bulldoze. Like worst case scenario, it's almost certainly Eviolite this week. I can't imagine Anna putting her Eviolite elsewhere when she's got a Hippopotas that needs it, right? I mean, where else would she put it? I guess maybe on Samsara, but no, I would expect it on London. So yeah, that's the plan, is set up Stealth Rocks on turn 1 with Optimus and then go into whatever makes sense at that point. Frankly, we'll probably wind up using Sashimi to pivot if I was a betting man, but we'll play it loose and we'll figure that out. I'm much more concerned about my match with Celeste, both because I think it is the harder matchup and it's also the one that we need to win more. Again, Celeste is ahead of us. If we are able to even just scoot out one more PvP match on her this week, we bring her lead to within 10 points, and at that point it kind of becomes anybody's ball game, which would be huge, frankly. And if Anna can also upset her, and if I can win both my matches, then we can pass her outright, which would be fantastic. Looking at this team, I don't think we bring Yam against Celeste as much as I want to, because Celeste's roster consists of Song, her Florges, Benson, her Charmeleon, Shadow Weaver, her Sigilif, Shiitake, her Breloom, Starscream, her Skarmory, Brad, her Raichu, Yumian, her Snorlax, and Jamak, her Frogadier. So Electric's strong against 3 of those Pokemon, and that's not nothing. But, and this is really, really notable, she's got the Raichu that resists it. She's got the Florges with its massive Spadef stat. Although I suppose I can also Encore lock the Florges. She's also got the Breloom, and I'm really, really worried I'm going to give the Breloom setup opportunities, although I guess I can Encore those. No, I think we do bring Yam. Bringing Yam in this matchup is scary. I am not going to... I'm not going to undersell that. I think that Celeste... If I'm guessing here, I think Celeste 100% brings... Song, her Florges, Shiitake, her Breloom, Starscream, her Skarmory, Brad, her Raichu, Yumian, her Snorlax, and then either the Charmeleon or the Sigilif this week, depending. I mean, Sigilif can have screens, which I could definitely see her wanting, and could be problematic for us if she gets them up with as fat as her team already is. Yeah, it probably screen Sigilif. That would make a lot of sense, I think. And I don't have Brick Break yet, so there's not a lot I can do about it. Sorry about all the squeaks. This puppy's very excited. But yeah, we definitely, I think, bring Yam. We bring Shelby. We bring Sashimi. We bring Johnny. We bring Peanut. Do we bring the exact same team? I don't know that we can. I feel like the exact same team is just so susceptible to that Breloom. I think I might have to forsake my own rocks and bring Granola instead of Optimus against Celeste. As much as I really don't want to, like, I want those stealth rocks. They're valuable. They're not nearly as valuable against Celeste as they are against Anna. And I feel like having that quad resistance to all of the stab moves of Shiitake the Breloom is just so huge. But yeah, this I think is the team against Celeste. Sorry, Taquito, I really want to bring you, bud. It's just hard. There's so much flying. It's so hard. But I think against Celeste, we definitely lead Peanut. Hope that Celeste leads with her Skarmory trying to get rocks up, like off the jumpy jump, and charge beam the shit out of it. That is definitely, we are going to fight Celeste first. I'm sorry, I know that me and Celeste have gone first for the last 2 weeks in a row, but Celeste is the one that I need to surprise right now with that charge beam, and we are going to do our very best to do so with Peanut. If all goes really well, we're going to chunk her Skarmory on turn 1 for about half of its health. She is going to then immediately telegraph switch into either the Breloom, the Raichu, or the Snorlax. Like, one of those three will be her switch, and either way, we just Psyshock turn 2, and we're going to chunk that thing for a good chunk. Looking at, let's see, Snorlax here. And I think assuming the most likely scenario, which is max HP, max attack, although it could not be that. It could have some SPDEF investment too. I'm not sure what her spread looks like for her Snorlax, but we'll assume more offensive feels like Celeste, frankly. Meowstic, level 32, we'll say +1, Psyshock. We can expect to do about 40 to 45% with a +1 Psyshock into Snorlax, assuming we do get the +1 proc, of course, which is a pretty big assumption. But if we can pull that off, that's enormous. And then obviously, even if we don't, we just hard out into Sashimi, get an Intimidate off on it, and start trying to deal with it in that way. But yeah, I think we've definitely got our work cut out for us more this week than we did last week, because frankly, my team is just good in doubles. It's well suited. I'm easily the best of the three of us, I think, in doubles, and the team does really good in that environment. I think we're going to struggle a lot more in singles. But yeah, that's where we're at. So I'm hoping that this all goes really, really well. I'm hoping to get some fire out of the next chapter of gameplay. Again, we're doing 2 gyms next chapter, which means 2 eggs, which means that hopefully we can get something either from an encounter or from an egg that is going to be able to finally just deal with the fucking Skarmory and the Aerodactyl, which are really just the banes of my goddamn existence at this point. So I'm really hoping that works out, and I hope that you guys are excited for it. Of course, look forward here on the channel to the PvP recap, and then we'll be back next week with the Chapter 4? God, it's Chapter 4 already? Chapter 4 gameplay, guys. But yeah, that's going to do it for me today. As always, I have been Jolly by Nature. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Hey, what's up, everybody? You made it to the end of the video. That is so awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Be sure to click the like and subscribe buttons so you stay up to date on what I and my co-hosts are doing right here on the Blastburn Radio YouTube page. Also, be sure to check out Blastburn Radio Podcast, which is available wherever fine pods are casted, as well as at our website down below at blastburnradio.com. But yeah, we'll be back next time, and I hope to see you there. Take care.